Listen, y'all. So, of course, yesterday, I posted a video reacting to the Heat loss to the Bulls where they collapsed in the fourth quarter. But right now, that's irrelevant because earlier in the day, I also posted a video talking about how the Miami Heat could potentially land Kevin Durant finally. After years of almost getting him, it now looks like it's possible. And in the few hours since I posted that video, 10, 11 hours since I posted that earlier yesterday, it's certainly starting to get some more steam. Now, I even had a source very close to me confirm that the Heat are very close to landing Kevin Durant before tomorrow's 3 p.m. trade deadline, which is now less than 24 hours away. But since I don't gatekeep like all these other reporters out there, I'm actually going to tell you my source. And his name is Mr. D. Lou Chanel. Yes, that's right. He's a close friend of mine, works in the Heat front office, and he told me that this trade is almost on the 1 yard line for the Miami Heat to acquire Kevin Durant. Once again, that's my guy. Shout out to Mr. D. Lou Chanel. If you don't get that, just rewind the video a few seconds. But also, if you don't trust my source, let me ask you this. Do you trust Shams Charania?
But sources tell me that Durant has no desire in a reunion with the Warriors. He does not want to go back.
Let me ask you this. Do you trust Brian Windhorst?
I would say he either stays in Phoenix or is a Miami Heat by tomorrow afternoon.
Because both of those credible sources have just came out within the last hour or so and essentially said that a KD to Warriors trade is completely dead, and they left the door open for a potential trade with the Miami Heat. Now, if y'all don't trust those sources, or if you don't trust Mr. D. Lou Chanel, well, then you might also remember that 2 years ago, I posted a video on this channel revealing another source that confirmed Kevin Durant to the Miami Heat. And the one thing about me is I'm never wrong. Sometimes I'm just a bit too early. The Miami Heat are trying to land Donovan Mitchell or Kevin Durant. Do you think that we get one of those two players?
Yeah, but because we better.
So
I'll kick their butt.
So are you saying the Miami Heat are going to acquire Kevin Durant?
Yes.
Who are they trading?
They're trading none of their players. They're gonna draft them. This video is officially over.
Okay, you gotta hit the end button.
Where's the end?
The red button, Dominic, on top. It's on top of the camera.
Where?
On top, yeah, almost there. The red button. But shout out to my little cousin, man. Listen, it certainly is tiring continuing to talk about the same things over and over again. And we've been talking about KD since really 2016. But I am very excited because I think this is the first time that I truly believe there's even a sliver of hope that we actually get Kevin Durant. Well, let me not say the first time. I'm sure I believed it every other time as well. But this time is kind of different because in the past, you were looking to pair Kevin Durant with guys that you had on the team already. With guys, whether it was D. Wade and Bosh back in the day, or whether it was Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo just a few years ago. And the reason that wasn't able to happen is because the Heat didn't have the assets outside of their star players. But right now, you're not looking to add Kevin Durant to Jimmy and Bam. You're looking to trade Jimmy for Kevin Durant. And if the Suns are that invested in acquiring Jimmy Butler, then maybe he actually has a lot of trade value to them, meaning that it's possible that Kevin Durant can make his way down over to South Beach. Even Mark J. Spears was on ESPN just a few minutes before I started recording, and he said that KD heard all the buzz about him going to the Warriors, and he told the Suns, hey, I don't want to go back there. Can you maybe work with me to find a destination that I would like to go to? And of course, if y'all saw yesterday's video, we sort of talked about the history of Kevin Durant being interested in Miami and his respect for Eric Spoelstra, his friendship with Bam Adebayo. So I certainly think that there is an interest between Kevin Durant and the Miami Heat. Of course, the interest is mutual because as Barry Jackson and 5 Reasons Sports reported today, the Miami Heat are legitimately interested in Kevin Durant. Now, I want to say that I actually have another source that confirmed the same information to me. They confirmed to me that the Heat really want Kevin Durant, and I'll also reveal my source for that, which of course is just common sense. Because seriously, the Heat want good players. Like, I've seen all these reports, like, really over the last several weeks. Oh, the Warriors want Giannis Antetokounmpo. Yeah, and so do the Heat and the Hornets and the Pistons and the Blazers and every other team in the league. Like, that's literally my least favorite thing on NBA Twitter during the trade deadline or in the offseason especially, is all of these reports that come out that say a certain team wants a certain player. Like, yeah, good teams want good players. That is not a report. It's truly one of my least favorite things on Twitter. One of my other least favorite things on Twitter is where these very uninformed fans that have the untrained eye, as Eric Spoelstra says, when they post these ridiculous trades on Twitter and then they say, walk with me, like they did something. And usually it's a terrible trade where like only the Miami Heat win if it's a Heat fan posting the trade. But then they caption it, walk with me, like they did something. It drives me crazy. One example is this guy I saw today, Nick, at Nick with a K _Riggy, where he posted this trade that said, walk with me 2.0 plus an extra scoop of delusion, because at least he admits that this is just a ridiculous trade. Wait a minute. Maybe this trade isn't half that bad. So shout out to you, Nick. And that's kind of what I actually want to get into with the rest of this video, is this trade that he puts here, because as wild as a week that it's been, maybe something crazy like this is certainly possible. Now, in yesterday's video, I did post a more realistic trade package for KD, in which I have the Heat getting Kevin Durant and sending over to Phoenix Jimmy Butler, Nikola Jovic, and a first-round pick. Really, all the Heat need to make the money work is Jimmy Butler and Josh Richardson, but I don't think that would be enough to seal the deal, because you may have some other teams competing for Kevin Durant. Obviously, you have a lot of teams that have a lot more picks than you, like the Spurs still, like the Thunder could certainly go back and get KD. The Suns actually played the Thunder today, so it would be an easy trade because KD's already in town. Now, it was reported that KD is not suiting up for ankle soreness, so maybe that means that he's on the move and the Suns don't want him to get hurt. But point is, a lot of teams like them and the Magic have picks that could beat the Heat, so the Heat would have to come with a real offer. And as I stated earlier, we know the Suns want Jimmy Butler, so if they send them Jimmy as sort of a win-now piece to help them still be competitive, and a couple of nice young assets for the future like Nikola Jovic, and of course that first-round pick, I think something like this could work. But what if we see something where some more teams and some more stars get involved? Because we know the Golden State Warriors are desperate to get Steph Curry some help. We know that the 76ers desperately hate Paul George. So that's where we get into Nick's trade, which is this one. And before you comment and say that's a 2K ass trade, well, that's just the timeline that we're living in right now. What can I tell you? You can never say that's a 2K ass trade after what we just saw with the Lakers getting Luka Doncic. You can't say it no more. But anyways, in this trade, the Miami Heat land Kevin Durant. The 76ers land Jimmy Butler. The Phoenix Suns land Andrew Wiggins, Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski, Josh Richardson, and 4 first-round picks. 2 of them, why am I getting a text that says GG's? Did a trade just happen? Oh, yeah, it's my boy telling me that KD doesn't want to go to the Warriors. We already know this. That's what we're discussing right now. But yeah, the Suns get 4 first-round picks, 1 from the Warriors, 2 from the Heat, 1 from the 76ers. The Warriors will be getting Paul George, and the Detroit Pistons will be getting Dennis Schroeder. So now to kind of break this all down, of course, the Heat getting Kevin Durant, that's simple. Yesterday, we went into his contract, we went into his numbers. He's showing no signs of decline, and because he's a guy that relies heavily on finesse and his jump shooting, I think he still has easily another 2 to 3 years playing at a superstar level minimum. And he does have the rest of this year and next year under contract, meaning that the Heat, if things go well, they can work out an extension with him next season. Obviously, that would be a huge win for the Miami Heat. Losing Nikola Jovic would suck. He's playing well. But if the Heat can fill the starting lineup of Tyler Hero, Duncan Robinson, KD, Bam Adebayo, Khalil Ware, championship, am I delusional? Is that my guy, Mr. D. Luchanel, telling me that I'm crazy? I don't think so, man. In the Eastern Conference, the competition is not too stiff, aside from a couple teams at the top, the Cavs and the Celtics, but the Heat would have such a well-rounded team with the scoring and the size and the defense and the shot making. It would truly be a very well-rounded team. Not many weaknesses there. I think the Heat could win it all. I'll be honest with you. The 76ers getting Jimmy Butler, that's mostly a case of them getting Joel Embiid, his boy, trying to keep their guy happy. Joel Embiid just returned from injury last night, had their 29-point triple-double. So although he has trouble staying healthy, when he is healthy, he's clearly still one of the best players in the league. The Heat do play the 76ers tonight, but Embiid's not playing because it's the second night of a back-to-back. But obviously, this is a huge upgrade for the 76ers because Paul George is off to a horrible start in the first season of his contract, making that max money for like the next 4 seasons. So you're getting a guy in Jimmy Butler who will make them more of a competitor right now, right? I guess with the level that Tyrese Maxey's playing at, and if Joel Embiid can ever get healthy, adding Jimmy Butler to that group certainly makes them very, very strong competitors in the Eastern Conference. They're currently 9 games under 500, but they're 1 game back at a 10 spot, which is the final play-in spot. So I think the Sixers might make a move like this to now that they see they're that close to actually being in the play-in. And then, of course, all they need to do is make the play-in. And with a roster like they'd have, I think they would have a chance to make some noise. And then again, you're keeping your star player happy in Joel Embiid. And Jimmy Butler's closed down a lot of trades to Memphis and to the Bucks and Golden State. I'm not sure he would shut this one down because he still has spoken very highly of Joel Embiid throughout the years. So I could see him being happy as well to reunite with his boy. Maybe he won't get that max extension, or maybe he would, because if the 76ers gave it to Paul George, why wouldn't they give it to Jimmy? Jimmy's a substantially better player. The interesting side here, though, is for the Phoenix Suns, where most of the deals we're seeing is them getting Jimmy Butler or getting some other sort of competitive piece, because knowing that ownership, knowing, James Jones, they want to compete now. Plus, they have a rising star in his prime right now with Devin Booker, who I'm sure does not want to rebuild, coming off a finals appearance just a few years ago. So this is a trade where they are more so looking to rebuild. So I could see why some Suns fans may not like that. And Devin Booker might be like, hey, why are we getting all these picks? Why are we getting a couple of young pieces and Jonathan Kuminga, Brandon Podziemski? Obviously, Andrew Wiggins is, I think, a nice piece that could fit in now next to Bradley Beal, next to Devin Booker. But what I would tell those Suns fans is you getting a lot of assets here. I mean, you basically traded 5 first-round picks to get KD. If you could get 4 of those back a couple years later, I still think that's very good value. You would have to pay Jonathan Kuminga, which is one of the reasons the Warriors are okay letting him go. But you would have him on the roster. You would have Podziemski, who is still a nice young player, although he's not having a great season. And then you got those 4 first-round picks, meaning you now have a lot of assets which you can move to maybe get the next guy. So although a guy might not become available this season, maybe you got a guy next year that does become available. I don't know what star that might be, but you'd have the assets to get him, and you can sort of talk Devin Booker into that. Hey, we got some nice young pieces. We'll be relatively competitive now. We might be a playoff team, but the first sign of a star that becomes available, we now got these picks and young pieces that we can go ahead and get someone very good for you. And of course, the Warriors, in their desperate pursuit to give Curry one more run at a championship, they would be getting Paul George, who is not having a great season. Maybe he just needs a change of scenery. We know he's an LA boy. And while the Warriors don't play in LA, they're still in California. So maybe he gets that home state confidence boost and he can get back to playing at the all-star level that we know Paul George to be at. And at the very least, the Warriors, I do think, are desperate. We said it earlier. Like, they need to do something. And if the worst they can do is Paul George, I don't think that's all that bad. We know they don't love Wiggins' contract. They would probably have to attach a first-round pick to get rid of him anyways, so they're only losing 1 first-round pick in this trade. We know they don't want to pay Jonathan Kuminga. We know they like Podziemski, but that was before he's having this kind of down season. So I really don't think the value that the Warriors will be giving up here is that crazy. I mean, the Warriors could still field a very, very good lineup of, I guess, Steph Curry. They'd have Buddy Hield, Paul George, Draymond Green, and then Trace Jackson-Davis, Kevon Looney, Quentin Post, whoever they want to put at the 5. I think that's a very well-rounded starting 5. Of course, they would still need some more help filling out the roster. That probably wouldn't happen this season. But the good news is you have Paul George under contract for like another 4 years. So you could work on filling out the roster this offseason and then go into next year with hopefully a competitive roster that they believe they could compete in the West. And then the last part here is the Pistons getting Dennis Schroeder just because the Warriors need to shed a little bit more salary to be able to bring in Paul George. Would the Pistons want Schroeder? I think so. He's a good player. He's a player that could definitely help them on their playoff run this season. A bit of a vet with some more experience. The Pistons do need some more guard help, especially since Jaden Ivey went down. And I think Schroeder is a piece that could play for them right now. I was going to say maybe a team would have to attach a second-round pick to entice the Pistons to get Schroeder, but probably not now that I'm looking at Schroeder is on the last year of an expiring deal. So the Pistons could kind of use him this year to go on their playoff run, maybe win a couple games or so. And as a Pistons organization, I think that would be a win for them. And then if they don't want to pay Dennis Schroeder this offseason, they wouldn't have to. But that's really all I got to say for this video. Let me know what y'all think of this trade down below. Do you think it's too crazy? If so, let me know who says no. Let me know what you would change. And if you're a Heat fan, let me know the most that you would give up for Kevin Durant. Would you be willing to trade Nikola Jovic? Would you throw in Khalil Ware? I'm very curious to hear what y'all think. That being said, like the video, subscribe, all that good stuff helps me out a lot. The Heat play the 76ers tonight, and I'll come to y'all with a post game later tonight then too. So I'll see y'all in the next one. Peace. Peace out.
Look, pull up in your city, tryna get that dead face. Do it on my own, I don't need no dead weight. Had to kill him off, yeah, I need a head space. You know this homegrown bitch don't offend me.